Sickle cell disease, a painful and potentially deadly disease that originates from the genes of your parents' grandparents, parents, and so on. The genetic disease from birth. Couples, both with the sickle cell trait, have a chance of having offspring with sickle cell anemia. For example, if I had the sickle cell trait and my friend here has a sickle cell anemia, our child would have a 50% chance of having sickle cell anemia, but will always have at least one sickle trait. Carriers, if you will. A small list of complications from sickle cell anemia includes episodes of pain, stroke, stunted growth, higher blood pressure, and most obviously anemia, and a list among other things.
Anyways, enough about the depressing life story.
The mutation is found on the hemoglobin beta gene, which is found on the 11th chromosome, and this mutation affects the hemoglobin A.
So it's like stuffing your wallet with a bunch of Canadian pennies.
It causes it to be unable to carry out its function properly. In the case of blood, deliver oxygen.
And so sickle cell disease is basically when the cells in your body collapse
To a sticky sickle shape. Hence the name sickle cell disease. It also lowers the life expectancy of your blood.
and basically it makes it harder for the body and the cells in the body to breathe because of the lack of blood cells.
私たちの他に赤血球なんて誰もいないじゃないですか
This causes the body's circulatory system to signal for the heart to pump faster as well. So that leads back to the higher blood pressure, and not to mention the sticky cells also tend to form blood clots, disrupting oxygen flow even further and increasing the risk for higher blood pressure and stroke.
生命維持を優先させるために末端への血流が減ってる。
ちょっと赤血球さん、最近酸素の供給が全然足りないよ。
どせんだよ。酸素一つ持ってくんのにどんだけかかってんだ。
The resulting consequence is anemia, as the body struggles to keep up with the deficiency of blood cell count. And without blood cells, the cells in your body cannot get enough oxygen, and that leads to your cells being forced to resort to anaerobic metabolism. And so what is that? It's a method of cellular respiration that does not use oxygen. However, it only produces 2 ATP, the energy molecule that our body uses. With oxygen, how much ATP do we produce? About 36. It's not enough. Anaerobic respiration is not enough for our body, and even if a cell isn't completely starved of ATP, if there isn't enough oxygen, the electron transport train structure in the cells will be disrupted if there isn't a constant supply of oxygen to be able to function. The nervous system is also at great risk for higher chances of overt and silent strokes, hindering cognitive functions like memory, attentiveness, and information processing. This also affects the hormones in the body, which leads back to the delayed growth of a person. Studies show that specific enzyme activities and total protein levels are also affected by the mutation. An increased amount of enzymes creates liver and bone complications. Resultingly, the liver is unable to effectively produce proteins, that of which help keep your fluids within your bloodstreams, keep your fluids and hormones. Vitamin D deficiency is also a cause for concern because it is responsible for regulating calcium, and without calcium, your bones, you're gonna get weaker. Another notable thing is that
people around tropical areas, especially the places with large malaria endemics, have more cases of sickle cell disease. This is because sickle cell disease, having the sickle trait, does also help a person overcome malaria.
compared to the average person, the average lifespan of someone with sickle cell disease is about 54 to 55 years. And that's still a relatively long life for someone with a very debilitating disease. And here also is a chart of the mortality rate from the JAMA network. And basically, the bottom is the age side, and the side axis is the mortality rate by 1,000. And so if it were a survivorship graph, if it were a survivability graph, its shape would look relatively the same. If it was a survivability graph, if it was a survivorship graph, its shape would look relatively the same as a regular person up here. And this is sickle cell disease, someone inflicted with sickle cell disease, and they have about the same shape. Both are about type 1, which are long-lived, and just for sickle cell, as long as you get past a certain age at the start, you'll be able to live a relatively long life. Just ending over here rather than all the way over there. Like, just maybe like around here. There are various lifestyle practices that also help with longevity.
With sickle cell disease, some doctors actually recommend that patients with sickle cell disease don't exercise at all. However, it has been proven that mild exercise does help with improving things like oxygen delivery in the blood vessels. And recommended exercise includes biking or swimming. But people with sickle cell disease need to make sure to keep track of their pace and stay hydrated, because intense exercise can be very detrimental to their health.
As you know, hemoglobin in sickle patients are mutated, but it is because they are made from the marrow that uses the mutated gene. And specifically, this is because the mutation creates a different amino acid that is to be used in the marrow to produce hemoglobin. And that amino acid that was replaced is hydrophilic, but the one now in its place is hydrophobic, unlike in normal hemoglobin. This is called a non-conservative substitution, and it's like if I were to switch the color ink of this green, you can't really see it, but green and orange pen, if I were to switch that, it doesn't really make sense. They kind of have different properties because they're not matching. Recently, we've also had a publication of a gene cure that is being developed to target sickle cell at the mutation in tandem with replacing the bone marrow that is producing that faulty hemoglobin and inserting new stem cells that hopefully will make new and unaffected healthy blood. And in my case, it would be kind of like getting an employer that doesn't pay me in Canadian pennies. So, yeah. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment if you had any issues with what I said in the video today. Make sure to share this video and please have a good day. So, like nuts, you see, with almonds and this cashew, I think it's called, they don't really go together. They make your mouth dry. But with that's the mutation. But like with raisins and nuts, almond nuts, they're pretty good.